Okay, so hello everyone, and I'm going to be watching now the trailer for the Mass Effect trilogy, the Legendary trilogy, I should say. Yes. So here we go. Yes. I love it. Yeah, I am so ready for that. It's been too bloody long. And if I go to find. Ah, here it is. Right. So not only was that ridiculously cool, the other thing is this here and what Casey Hudson has said. So I gave it a quick brief read. Um, and what it looks like to me is that basically they're just going to modernize it. So they're not going to change anything. So that means the first game's probably going to be the same in terms of gameplay, mechanics. Um, I'm guessing in every way. Same with the second and the third one. I kind of don't mind that. I do hope, though, it's probably not going to happen, though, because they might have been working on this, probably are working on it now, that they kind of modernize the first and second game's gameplay to be like the third one. Because I'm assuming because until we see more, I'm assuming they're doing this possibly still on an Unreal Engine, and so hope they're not doing this on the Frostbite because it's Andromeda was a good game, but they didn't spend enough time on trying to make it work properly. So I'm hoping this is still on the Unreal, even if it's Unreal 4, because I'd imagine they're not going to be too dissimilar, and it's going to be easier for the team to work on it. But still looking forward to it, and it's going to be freaking awesome. And the other bit here is at the end. Um, so he talks about how the DLCs and everything will be in 4K. It's going to come out in spring 2021. So that basically means we're looking at a March release, which I hope so, because that's when my birthday is. So if it comes out then, awesome sauce. Um, it's this other bit here. I think it's down here somewhere. Um, yeah. Meanwhile, here at Bioware, a veteran team has a hard work envisioning the next chapter of the Mass Effect universe. We are in the early stages of the project and can't say any much more just yet, but we're looking forward to sharing our vision where we'll be going next. Now, of course, that's very open ended as the intention, but I'm hoping that means another Andromeda. And I'm hoping that means it's going to be far better than the first one because even though I enjoyed it, the story was lacking. To be quite honest with you, it was very lackluster. But you could tell that anyway just from the get go because it felt more fan made than original development. So my hope is going to continue with the awesome gameplay. They're going to continue with the engine because they probably can get that to work, but they need to give it back to the other team who are doing it. So then because they've got the experience. Because even though the original guys that did the trilogy, any of them that are still there at Bioware, and then any of them that worked on Anthem with the Frostbite engine, they need to work together to make sure that this next one is going to be hopefully just as good as the trilogy. Because that's what I love. The trilogy is where it's at. The trilogy is, it's just so good. Like, I could sit here for hours and just talking about every little detail and every major thing that happens from the first game right up to the third one. And I will defend all of it, even still the bugs, the glitches, everything. Hopefully, we're going to have far less than that in the Legendary Edition. And it's just going to look absolutely gorgeous. Because I still think the game looks good anyway. Even though what the first one's now, what, 13 years old? Yeah, 13 years old. and there's only so far they could go with the graphics. But I'm just hoping that this game, this next Mass Effect game, is going to be just as good as one of the original trilogy games. Because that's all I want. I want it to be just as good, so I've got some hope that Mass Effect is still going to be living on and still be just as awesome. Because I'm losing hope. Andromeda was good from a gameplay perspective. The story was a bit lackluster. The driving was miles better, but that's because they got another studio involved with that, without going into too much detail. And I'm just so pumped for the Legendary Edition because it's just. I play the original trilogy still every so often, and I've still got a game running now on the third one, which I'm going to end up playing at some point in the next couple of days. But I love the original trilogy. It is the best. For me, it's the best like story-driven games I've ever played, and I've played other ones that I love that are almost as good, but they're just not the same. Mass Effect has everything, as well as then great voice acting. And I'm just so looking forward to this. It's going to be so good. I'm more than happy to give them my money for this. But that's why, again, I'm hoping that then the next Andromeda game is going to be, if it is Andromeda, or whatever it's going to be, it's still going to be really good. So, fingers crossed that it is. It's all I can hope for. So, yeah, let's hope Bioware can bring it back to us.